Eat, sleep, bet, repeat. That's how we get down on the opening line at EliteSportsBetting.com. I'll be your host, Benny Ricciardi, and I am very excited here today to be talking to this picture that you guys see on the screen. But this picture is actually my boy, MLB Dream, one of our handicappers, and also somebody who's been doing a little bit of international baseball action for you. So before we get into that, Dream, what's going on, dude?
Hey, how you doing, Benny? Thanks for having me, man.
Oh, anytime, bro, anytime. Now, you guys may be wondering why you don't see Dream's beautiful face here and on the other side of me like it is over here. He's a little bit of a behind-the-scenes kind of guy. Being a sports betting guy also, he kind of likes to keep his identity a little bit behind the curtain here so you don't really know who he is. And before we even get into today's action, Dream, let's talk a little bit about sports betting in general, because I know that that's kind of your thing, and a little bit about that idea of kind of protecting your identity a little bit. I mean, I have started noticing it playing some of the things that you guys have come across, you know, the stuff that you guys are putting out there on the boards right now. Some of the sports books that I bet at now consider me a sharp because of all the information that you guys are putting out. And I'm starting to get limited on some of the bets that I can make, the size of some of the bets that I can make, and when I get down on some of this stuff. Because we've been doing pretty well over here and we've been winning, especially on baseball. Your 2019 MLB baseball season was one of the sickest handicapping feats I have ever seen in my entire life. So just talk a little bit about, you know, why you thought you had such a great year last year. What did you end up at the end of the season? You up, was it over 100 units for last year?
I think I lost a little bit on the World Series. We had a couple Astros futures, so I want to say it was either 91 or 99 units or just above 100. I don't remember.
Yeah, so listen, at 99 units last year during baseball season. So basically, if you were, you know, following Dream's plays and putting them in there, you pretty much doubled the amount of money you started out in your bankroll with. So you guys all should be thanking this guy for that. Now, let me ask you this question, because this is something I saw. We didn't have a lot of time to really kind of go through this, but something that I saw at the beginning of the year. When your bets come up, you started putting them in the vault first, right? So as soon as you found the bet that you liked for the preseason MLB baseball games, you would throw it into the vault and say, just as an example, I like the Rockies plus 125 today. I have never seen markets move as fast as those markets were moving when we were playing preseason baseball here. You throw up a bet in the vault for plus 125, I would run over to DraftKings or FanDuel and try to get the bet in there, and you would watch it in real time dropping. It's like you would try to get it at 125, the number was already down to 115. 2 minutes later, it was down to 105. 5 minutes later, we're fucking giving money now. It's minus 110, minus 115. To me, that was crazy because I have never seen anything like that. How does it feel to know that, you know, your information is being used by a bunch of guys and literally is so sought after that it's moving markets at this point?
Well, you know, spring training especially is a much smaller market than an MLB. So bets, you know, smaller bets will move the number. But, I mean, it was pretty wild. I think even at one point we had somewhat of a, let's just call them a large betting group copying the plays and pretty much, you know, betting it themselves. And I think that led to, you know, higher numbers. But, yeah, I started posting them in the chat because if I put them up on the picks page, pretty much nobody on Elite was able to get the number. So giving them that extra 2 minutes posting it in the chat actually helped a lot of guys out. Mm-hmm. And honestly, even towards the end, I would just start posting the play before I played it myself just to give the guys a better chance to grab those numbers.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to be honest. We have every sport that we do over here. We got guys doing soccer. We got guys doing NASCAR. We got guys doing everything over at Elite Sports Betting. I have never seen lines move that fast. Like, I would literally keep the window open in the vault because as soon as you posted, if you didn't go and get that number right away, you just saw that number start moving and moving and moving. And if it was 5 minutes it took, I mean, there are times where we moved the number 50, 60 basis points, which is crazy to me. Like, you know, for those of you who know sports betting, I mean, if the number moves like a dime or 20 cents, that's considered a pretty decent move. These were going from like I said, there were times where we were getting, you know, you were putting something in at plus money, and by the time you went to put the bet in on it, you know, you were giving money instead of getting money on it, and that's just crazy.
I mean, a lot of these moved even a dollar. We'd bet something minus 120, and next thing you know, it'd be like minus 200 or minus 220. And a lot of it was, you know, the legwork and the information that I would gather the night before in terms of, you know, I'd know literally every single pitcher that was scheduled for that
Mhm.
day. But even we pretty much get lineups as soon as they were announced. I was in the vault. Now we would bet something. Let's say we got them at -110, moves to about -150, and then some of the bigger players would come across that same lineup that we already hit, and then you'd see another 40 or 50 cents
Yep.
on that same side. So it was pretty cool.
Yeah, no, like I said, it's something that I have never seen anybody else do, which, kudos to you. And for those of you who are wondering what we're talking about with the Vault, if you go over to Elite Sports Betting, our VIP chat for anybody who signs up to the VIP, we call it the Vault. That's where, that's where all the money is. That's where all the money's made. And that's the place where you really want to be if you want to get down early on this stuff. And I think Dream would agree with this. I mean, a lot of people don't understand sports betting and the best ways to make money on it. If you're not getting your money down early, if you're waiting until, the last minute to put your money down, after that line has been picked through by, all the different betting syndicates and all the different, sharp bettors and everything else, you're really looking at probably a 50-50 proposition, probably even worse than that, because you got to cover the hold and the juice and all that. If you want to get down, you really got to get down early on some of these numbers, because that's the best way to give yourself an advantage and kind of take away a little bit of the house's advantage. Because after everybody gets a chance to see the number and the number settles in, like I said, if Dream says, oh, I like this at +120, if you're getting it at -200, it's not the same bet as it was at +120. Yeah, he may still think there's a good chance for it to win, but you're really betting percentages, right? Like at +120, you're giving that team a 45% chance to win or something. And if you think they have a 50 or 60% chance to win, that's good value. But when it goes down to -200, now you're talking about a 66% chance to win, when if you only had it as a 50 to 60% chance, taking that -200 number is going to kill you. Whereas taking that +120 number, you're going to be ahead of the game. And that's really the thing that I think a lot of people need to understand about sports betting. You're betting on teams, but you're not really betting teams. What you're really doing is betting numbers. And, the number is very important, which is why it's so important to get down early.
I mean,
So,
sorry to interrupt you. We had
no,
guys
no.
that I was telling them in the chat, if you're up here, if you get in here early enough and you grab the number that I get, or even better, you could pretty much guarantee profit on most of these plays by betting the other side before first pitch. I mean, that was the case pretty much most of spring training. And I mean, even, I know we're about to get into it in the CPBL, spent some time learning that market. And to be completely honest, I don't think I've had more than maybe 2 plays move against me so far. So, I mean, can't stress how important it is to, have a feel for the market definitely before you start firing.
Yeah, and that's a good segue for us to get over to what we're going to talk about here today. I wanted to kill a little time before we actually got into it, because unfortunately we only have one game today in the CPBL. Now, the CPBL, stop me if I'm wrong here, Chinese Professional Baseball League, right? But it's also played in Taiwan.
Yes, so we like to refer to it as Taiwan CPBL.
Okay, so the Taiwan CPBL is what we're looking at here. Not a lot of teams in this league, so not a ton of information you have to learn, which is good, because that was one of my biggest problems with the Korean Baseball League, is I'm trying to learn all these new guys and all these new teams. And, when you're trying to do that in the middle of all the research you've been doing for fantasy baseball and in the middle of fantasy basketball season, it's not an easy thing to do here. But, again, one of the things that you can do is also be able to make money in markets that other people aren't really paying much attention to. And I think that's why things like preseason baseball and this Taiwan CPBL are kind of good places to attack. So I am by no means an expert in this. So I am going to just open up the floor and let you go ahead and talk and kind of break this all down. What do we have here today? The Union.
We have the Uni 7-Eleven Lions at the Fubon Guardians. Now, let me go ahead and apologize, because I am going to butcher these names. And for the most part, I'll just stick to the starting pitchers, and then I do the hitting mostly by team. I don't get too deep into the player lineup construction, because honestly, these lineups aren't posted until 15 minutes before first pitch, and that's at about 6:15 a.m. So there's not much time to do anything with that information. But so like Benny said, it's a 14 league, and it's a hitting league. There's not much pitching. Now, there's a couple stud starting pitchers. Each team is allowed 4, I guess, foreigners, and the rest have to be natives. But just a quick example, like, I think one of the best teams in the league has a bullpen FIP of around 6, which, I don't know what the Major League Baseball average is off the top of my head, but it's much lower than that. I think the Orioles set a record with one of the worst ERAs in baseball, and it was lower than that. So you're going to see a ton of offense in this league, but let's just jump right into tomorrow's matchup. So the Lions are the worst team in the league. They come in at 13-19, and they visit the Guardians, who are 13-15. The Lions have generally a pretty good offense, actually one of the better offenses in the league, but they have the second worst bullpen and far and away the worst starting pitching in the league. So tomorrow we see, here we go, Shu Su Chien pitching for the Uni Lions. He's a right-hander. The other thing about this league is there's not that many advanced stats. I'm actually calculating FIP on my own for the bullpens and the starting pitchers. So we kind of have to go off with what we have. But he's in 30 innings this year, his ERA is 6.6. He has a 6.58 FIP and a 15% K percentage. Now, his ERA plus is 90.9. Just really quickly, 100 is league average, so that would mean that his ERA is 10% below league average. So he's facing the Guardians tomorrow, and in, let's see, 90 career innings versus them, he has a 4.3 ERA. He's given up 4 home runs this year against righties. Righties are hitting 333 off of him, lefties 304. So, I mean, let me tell you, this guy's not a great pitcher, and you won't see very many great pitchers in the league. So the Guardians should have some success against this starter. Now the Lions themselves, like I said, their bullpen has a 6.60 FIP, and as far as their offense goes, they have a 369 on base, 467 slugging, and 42 home runs on the year. So the Lions average 6.87 runs per game. And, let's just say they have a below average pitcher going for tomorrow and one of the league's worst bullpens. So they'll be facing Qian Ko Hiao. Again, my apologies. But over 26 innings, he has a 5.4 ERA, 110.7 ERA plus, so 10% above league average. 1.58 whip, 4.66 FIP, and a 13% K percentage. Now, I know if you're a Major League Baseball fan, you're going to tell me this guy sucks. As far as the CPBL goes, he's not bad.
Everything's relative. That's the one thing I want people to understand when you hear some of these numbers. If you're comparing these numbers to numbers that we normally look at in Major League Baseball, they're all going to be like, wow, this guy should be in AA or single A or not even on a baseball team right now.
And thank you for actually bringing that up, Benny. They say that the talent level is very similar to, AA to AAA.
Yep.
As far as hitting goes. Now, defense, they'd say defense is probably A-ball level. It's really well below average defensive league.
Okay.
But just like you were saying, so just a little off topic, the Rakuten Monkeys are the best team in the league, 19-13 or something like that. It wasn't up until, I think, at the end of last week, they just had their team on base percentage dip below 400. I'm talking about team on base percentage, 2 months into the season.
Yeah.
So, you're seeing, you'll see totals of 15, won't really see lower than 10.5, I don't think. But let's get into this Guardians pitcher, Ko Hyo Hao. So versus lefties, he's allowing a 323 batting average, and versus righties, 311. So he actually pitched 22 innings versus the Lions last season and did really well. Had a 3.63 ERA, 12.7 K to BP. Now the Guardians have, I think, the best bullpen in the league. That's at a 5.58 FIP. So, this isn't one of their. It's probably an average pitcher going. The Guardian offense hits 295 with a 6.6 ERA against right-handed starters. Okay. So that's pretty good. Now, we know that the Lions average 6.87 runs per game. The Guardians average 5.82. Their offense isn't as good as the Lions, but as a team, they have a 342 on base and 467 slugging. Okay. So, putting all that together, I'm expecting the Guardians to probably open around 160. With a total around 12 and 12.5. The temperature is going to be about 87 degrees with wind at about 7 miles per hour with gusts up to, I think, 25, and it's going out to right field.
All right, so definitely good hitting weather. The hotter it is, the better for hitting, and also with the wind behind you, that's definitely going to be something that helps balls carry.
Exactly. So one other thing I forgot to mention, they've had an issue with the juiced ball. Their ball is even more juiced than MLB's was last season. They're actually going to switch balls at the midway point of the season. But for now, they're playing with an insanely juiced ball.
Okay.
So that also, helps the offense. So honestly, like I said, I'm still getting to know this league. I'm definitely not an expert. My record so far is 27-19. We're up 6.81 units after last night's loss. So it's not like, if they open up the Guardians at like minus 220, I'm not going to run to jump to bet the Lions, even though they probably have some value. But we'll just see. So I'm not that stuck on those numbers that I made. So I'm honestly, we'll have to wait to see what the lines open up at. But for now, I kind of lean maybe a little bit to the Guardians and the Guardians team total. If we can get like a 5.5 or a 6.5 against a below average starter and one of the worst bullpens in the league.
So for those of you who don't know, this is why I love Dream. He's 27-19 right now, right? So that's what, 46 games. And he's up 6 units. So basically at this point, he's got like a 15% return on investment right now. 46 units in and an additional 6 units in the thing. And he's like, yeah, I don't really know what I'm doing with this league. I don't really feel all that comfortable with it. And that's why we love him. And that's why he works here with us. Because he is the man. And as you can see by all the, the stats and everything else that he's breaking down, this guy loves baseball. Like I love baseball, but this guy loves baseball. And that's why he's so good at it and been able to get all these, all these wins and all these profits for us. So if you guys are looking to get more of this information, get the breakdown that Dream has every day coming up on, whatever baseball we have here. At this point, it's Taiwanese baseball. Hopefully soon, if they can get their heads out of their asses and the owners and the players can get together, hopefully it'll be on Major League Baseball soon. But, you guys can go over to EliteSportsBetting.com. Every day you go over to the baseball thing, you'll see his picks up there. You stop in the vault, you'll see Dream hopping in there every once in a while. You can say hello to him. If anybody out there gets a picture of him, it's kind of like Bigfoot, right? Nobody really knows what either one of them look like, and nobody's ever actually seen either one of them in the wild. But if you can get a picture of Dream, I will give you a free Guru Elite t-shirt out there for anybody who knows. But for now, we're happy just to have him come on and break everything down for us. Dream, thank you for stopping by. Anything you want to say to the people before we get out of here?
Actually, let me just mention one thing. I appreciate it, Benny. So I'm putting up most of these, I'm doing daily previews for the CPBL, and I'm putting them up on FanLink Sports daily for free. You don't have to be a member. You can just go check them out. I'll be posting today's, and probably once the lines go up and I get my play in and release it to the guys, I'll probably put this preview up for you guys.
All right, so there you go. If you're looking to get the actual breakdown of the individual games. Now, are these on TV? I'm not at 6:15 in the morning. Hopefully, I'm usually sleeping, or if one of my kids wakes me up, I'm, trying to make coffee and make them breakfast. But I'm not really paying attention to baseball in Taiwan at 6:15 in the morning. But are these games on TV that we can watch, actually?
Dude, they are. Actually, in the fan link posts, I'll put links to the streams every day. Okay. So, if you get up at 8, you'll still have an hour or two of baseball. Some of these games go about 4 hours long. Mm-hmm. So you could have your coffee and watch some games. I wish I can't sleep anymore while these games are on. With no alarm or anything, my body's just like, all right, 6:30, there's baseball on, get your ass up.
Yep. So. Yeah. Everybody's body clocks are basically way off at this point in time. But like I said, I'm happy you were able to stop by. I'm happy we got a chance to do this. And I'm definitely going to have you back on once I don't want to say once because I don't want to jinx it, but if and when we get some baseball back, we're definitely going to have to do this again for American baseball where people actually understand some of the names and people we're talking about a little more.
Yeah, and I can actually pronounce most of them.
Yeah, that'll be – well, you know what? There's a couple in Major League Baseball right now that I still got to go find out the exact pronunciations of before.
Oh, dude, more than a couple for me. I will butcher names all day.
And that's the way it is. For Dream, this is Benny signing off for another episode of The Opening Line at EliteSportsBetting.com.